Hi guys, I'm Bri.
And I'm Alli. This is Offscript.
If you think about it, books are potential scripts for movies.
When this adaptation happens, typically it's disappointing because they went off script.
In this series, we will be talking about how off script they went. All right, guys.
Hello.
Welcome to Offscript.
And we're currently at a cute little puppy house.
Yeah, I'm watching some dogs, so you're gonna hear it's inevitable. These dogs
Yep.
are not the quietest dogs I've ever watched.
Yep. And that's Bri.
And I'm not Alli.
I'm just going to try and see how much I can trip you up every time now. That's so much fun.
I was like, oh yeah, I gotta introduce myself. But she already said Bri, so I gotta introduce Alli.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Worked better than I was expecting it. Oh gosh. Anyways. Today we're doing the Silver Linings Playbook, or Silver Linings Playbook as the movie drops the.
Oh, that's funny.
I know. Thought it was interesting.
That's so random.
It's
Why
like
did they
the
do
Facebook.
That? Yeah,
Facebook.
They're like, it'll be cleaner.
Yes, exactly. But we're on season 4, episode 21, and happy Memorial Day.
Go ahead, finish. That's actually important.
I was going to say thank you to everyone who has served our country. And
so we're remembering our veterans today. It's also, fun fact, Alli, do you know what today is? Or that date is?
I do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know. What?
Why are you clenched so much?
Clenched?
Your teeth. You're talking like this.
I don't think I am.
You were. Anyway, sorry. I just look at you and you're talking with your lips, not your mouth. And I was like, that's interesting. I'm going to call her out like 5 times
Why are you
today.
doing this?
I'm going to like... This is the pick on Bri episode, I guess. Sorry.
Great episode to do it on.
It's your guys' 1-year anniversary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Not to take away from our
Memorial Day.
our veterans out there.
Yeah, but I've been with John for a year.
How crazy is that?
It's insane.
What are you guys going to do?
I don't know.
Oh. We're legit recording this 2 days, 3 days before, and you still don't know what you're going to do?
I'm leaving it in his court.
Okay. All right, fair.
And he's scheduled work. So he works until like 3.
Okay, well, that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
3, and then you guys can do a lot after 3. It's supposed to be nice. Yeah.
Is it? Because I feel like this whole week it was supposed to be nice, and it's been rain.
I hope it's supposed to be nice. I'm doing my mommy-daughter date with Riley, and we're going to Wild Waves.
Oh, fingers crossed for you.
Yeah. Last I looked, it's supposed to be 71.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
You guys go to, like, the beach or something.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Well, that's exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. Because I can't really say what you get. I can say he doesn't listen, does he?
Oh, well, it'll be on our anniversary.
Right.
I doubt he's going to listen to it.
I know, you got to tell it because it's such a cool gift.
Yeah. So when I went house sitting for my friend Nee in January?
December, right? We were there for New Year's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So end of December, beginning of January, John went with me and they had a telescope that he kept playing with. And he was like, oh, I want one. And he like looked it up on Amazon, decided it was too expensive, but was like, it's going in my save for later for sure. So then I sat there and I was like, I don't know what I'm getting him for our anniversary. And I was like, I'll get him a telescope, which also really sucked because literally just last week we were looking at the Northern Lights and I was like, I know, this would have been perfect.
But actually I looked that up because I was like, I was wondering if like binoculars or something would help with the Northern Lights. And they said, no, close up doesn't help. It's more of a overall.
Okay. Well, then that makes me feel a lot better.
Okay.
Because I was bummed, especially since that day we were at a baseball game. And what did he say? I can't even remember what we were talking about, but he literally like looked at me and was like, "Are you gonna get that telescope yet?"
What?
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
was like, I really want one.
That's so funny. What if he got you one?
I'd be like, cool.
It proves you're supposed to be together because you both know each other so well.
That's true. If we both did the same thing. But then I also got him our first date, what the constellations were on the first date.
It's so cute. It's such a cute little gift together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I will give Steph a shout out for that one because I had told her that I just got him the telescope and I was like, this kind of sucks. I wish it was a little bit more sentimental, but I know that he wants it, so whatever. Mm-hmm. And she was like, do this.
So cute.
Yeah, I was like, wow, good thinking. What's funny is I almost got him just that before I landed on the telescope after we talked.
So you were planning on getting that before, and then Steph reminded you to get it?
Well, I had planned on getting it for him. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, that's kind of cheesy. He might not like that, whatever. I'll get him something practical. And then it just, like, left my mind.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what a perfect little combo gift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
So as we have said, we are doing Silver Linings Playbook. So we advertised last week that we're going to do Howls.
Yes, we did.
But the end of the school year is crazy, you guys. Mm-hmm. And kids are getting sick.
Yeah, and Steph's a mama of... Whoa, I almost said 4. She's a mama of 3 right now.
And so she has to take care of her sick babies. And Jade was not sick, but...
The other babies were.
Yes, and,
including fiance.
Yeah, so it's like, we're going to let them rest up. And we're still going to do it. We're still going to do your Howl's Moving Castle episode. It's just in a little bit.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Different time.
Yes. Okie dokie. Well, let's get started with this episode because we got a lot to do today.
Yes, we do.
All right. So we have a synopsis for you. Okay. So after a stint in a mental institution, former teacher Pat, I don't know.
Solitano.
Thank you. Moves back with his wife and tries to reconcile
with his parents.
Oh, see, we have our words like half and half, you guys. I can't read them all. Let's do this. Come and restart. Okay. So our synopsis for you. After a stint in a mental... It's going to be a long night, you guys. Mental institution. Former teacher Pat Cilantro. Cilantro. Oh my gosh. I can't read. Now it's smaller.
This is what you get for picking on me.
So true. Karma.
Oh. Pat Cilantro.
That's his new name. Okay, Patrick Jr. moves back in with his parents and tries to reconcile with his ex-wife. Things get more challenging when Pat meets Tiffany, a mysterious girl with problems of her own.
Yeah.
Okay, we have author Matthew Quick, director David O. Russell, screenplay writer David O. Russell, audiobook reader Ray Porter. I thought he did fine. You didn't like him, did you? I remember you telling me.
He just reminded me of the dude who you were bored with.
Oh, I don't remember which one that was.
I can't remember which one it was, but you played like a snippet for me, and I was like, ooh, that sounds a lot like the guy from Silver Linings.
We mentioned in an episode, so if you guys remember, tell us.
Yeah. We've been powering through all these books.
Gosh, like no other. Okay. So let's keep going. So the book came out September 2nd, 2008. The movie came out November 16th, 2012. That's 4 years.
That's actually kind of crazy. I kind of thought the book came out way before 2008.
I would have thought 2006 because that's when the book took place. All right. So what'd you do first?
I saw the movie first.
Same.
It was an Oscar-nominated movie, so duh, I had to see it.
I know, right? It won a lot too, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It won Best Picture, Best Actress. Did it win Best Adapted?
Actually, it's one of my fun facts.
Oh, well then, I'll let you take it away.
Thanks.
Yep.
But first, what are your thoughts on the story?
I actually really enjoy this story. He mad. I had his gong.
I really like it too. I super love it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites for sure. It's a good one.
I went into the movie because I rewatched it, forgetting really what it was about. Mm-hmm. And it was just so good.
Mm-hmm. It is. I like both.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Why did I pick it?
Yeah.
Well, I picked it. Oh, it was supposed to come after Howls. That's why. Because I thought Allie would have a problem with Howls. Man, did I know. And
They don't know that yet.
that's true. But so I thought she would have an issue with Howls. And I was also slightly worried about Bullet Train. So I put those two, I bookmarked.
You sandwiched them.
Yeah, I sandwiched them with this one because I had hopes that you would like it because it's a cute story. So I was like, okay, this one's safe. I'll do that.
So sweet you think of me.
I try.
Yes. All right, should we do some super fun facts?
Yeah.
All right, so Robert De Niro teared up during the scene when he tells Bradley Cooper he wished he was closer to him, which was not a scripted scene.
Aw, that's so sweet.
I thought so too. This was shot in 33 days.
Jeez Louise, that's
I
insane.
know. I always put those in there because I'm always so shocked at how quickly movies are put together. Because you think about it and you're like, it must have took, months and months and months.
Yeah, no, that took 1 month. Well, the thing too about it is when a movie is shot that quick, it's because they're doing 6 scenes in one day.
Right. You guys, sorry. I know this is going to be a super noisy episode.
The dogs that I'm watching are very needy, and I took away his gong because he was chewing on it on our table, and you would have been able to hear it even worse. But now he's upset.
Yes. All right. The Russian title of this film translates to "My Boyfriend is a Psycho." Which I don't know.
It's pretty spot on.
Number 4, when Tiffany runs
I know you went
out.
up here.
Oh, sorry. Just let me ignore you to dealing with that and just keep going. Okay. When Tiffany runs out of the diner and Pat chases her on their Raisin Bran date, they stop in front of the movie theater. It's a Halloween, and the movie is Midnight Meat Train, which features Bradley Cooper.
I love that. That's amazing.
And lastly, the Weinstein Company bought the rights to the book before it was published. And it took 5 years and 25 rewrites before David O. Russell could direct it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You said that the Academy thing was one of your fun facts.
Oh, it was. I must have took it out and put a different one in.
I was like, wait a minute, I could have kept going.
You could have kept going.
Well, it's fine because I think it won for Best Adapted Movie.
Yeah.
Or Adapted Screenplay.
It had 4. I don't remember what. They were.
I know for sure director, movie, actress. I'm pretty sure it's the screenplay.
It said the 4 main categories.
Well, then, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless it was cinematography, but I don't think it was.
Cool. All right. Okie dokie. All right. So the book kicks off. Yeah, they start at the same time, don't they? The book kicks off at a mental institution. I did it again.
Mental institution.
What the heck? I can't. Mental institution. It's those words together. Say it 10 times fast.
Mental institution. Mental institution. Mental institution.
Okay, is that just me? And his main goal is to get his wife back. He's always looking at the silver lining of life, and he's frustrated when people don't. And he has a friend in there named Danny, and he calls the place the bad place. And he gets taken out by his mom, and he's certain he's going to get Nikki back because he's been working out really hard and he's bettering himself. When he gets home, his dad doesn't want to talk to him or anything to do with him. And all of Nikki's pictures are taken down. And his mom's like, oh my gosh, we were robbed and they were in nice frames and all this sort of stuff. And then he reads all of the books that are on Nikki's syllabus because she is a English teacher and he wants her to be proud of him.
He's so well read, so take him back.
I know.
So in the movie, when Pat gets out, his friend Danny also gets out with him. So then Pat asks his mom to take him home, which doesn't happen in the book. Because my next note is Danny's not supposed to leave.
Right.
I made 2 notes of that. Why did I do that? Anyways.
You were very upset.
Apparently.
Oh my gosh.
Also, a difference is in the books, it takes him a while to get all of her books in the book. Like, he goes and checks one out at a time. I know, I realized that just sounded way too. All of the books off of Nikki's syllabus.
Oh, okay.
And it takes him a while. He, like, does it one book at a time, whereas in the movie, he, like, gets a huge stack of books, and he does it, like, immediately, like, on their way home from the mental institution.
Mm-hmm. His dad also talks to him right when he gets home.
Yeah, because that's probably what my Sunday note is, because they get home on a Sunday, and it's a football day, and, like, in that house, oh, man. Sundays are their favorite day.
Mm-hmm. Eagles football.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles. Eagles.
I did get annoyed by that in the book. I was like, how many times?
You audiobook read it too, right?
Yeah.
So you heard that. Oh my gosh, I'll never not know how to spell Eagles now.
I did. You didn't know how to?
No, I did, but now, like, what was I? Oh, I was writing it out for my notes. And every
like,
time I typed it, I did. Eagles. Eagles.
They do the chant every time because apparently it's an Eagles thing. How would I know? I'm not from Philadelphia, so I didn't know this. But that's what they do is they chant about this football team to each other.
Yep. But anyways, also I don't remember if I don't think the frames were all gone.
Oh yeah, no, the frames were not gone. I mean, maybe they were, but they weren't a thing.
Yeah,
that got told. The other thing too. I know that David O. Russell did this movie because his son has, I can't remember what his son has.
It was bipolar and OCD. That was also almost a fun fact of mine.
Yeah. So he has mental illnesses. And so he wanted to make a movie to kind of showcase that. Mm-hmm. And that's also why his son is in the movie. And
who's his son?
His son is the one who knocks on the door and keeps wanting to write the article about Pat.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, like, that's not a part that's in the book. Mm-hmm. But David did it to be like, here's my son.
Aw, cute.
Yeah. And, shoot, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh. And because of that, I do think they also gave Dad OCD in the movie, too. Like, he has to have the remote controls in the right order, and they have to be in the right spot, and all of this.
I didn't catch that. But yeah, I can see it. Okay. These are our co-hosts, sniffing the mic, sneezing, and oh gosh. We tried to get him up here to make it quieter, and it's like...
Who likes ASMR? Oh, Pat, lay down, honey.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, so one of the contingencies, is that a word? Contingencies? One of the things that had to happen for Pat to get out of the mental
contingencies.
mental institution was that he has to go to therapy. So he goes to this therapist's office and they're playing a Kenny G song over the speakers. And he flips out. He starts screaming, like throwing things and everything. And his therapist, Cliff, comes out and and he's talks to him, and in their session, Cliff seems to have like a silver lining attitude too. Like all his other therapists were like, no, you won't get back with Nikki, deal with it. But he knows how to therapist.
He knows how to therapist.
He's like, oh, okay, without shooting him down, because, that is never helpful.
Yeah.
And so...
No, he does it very, very well.
Yeah, where he never gives him false hope, but he doesn't...
shoot him down and make him feel dumb.
Yeah.
And he does it in a way where he then gets his trust.
Yep. And so he lets him know, I'm going to be adjusting your meds. And he then... I almost said Bradley Cooper. Then Pat goes home and goes on a 10-mile run, and he goes back to therapy, and he's like, okay, I'm going to give you some new meds that these meds might make you hallucinate. And Pat's like, oh, no, I'm fine. But he's also not taking his meds like he's supposed to.
So in the movie, too, one of the things that happens is Nikki, his ex-wife, Pat's ex-wife, sold their house and left, whereas in the book she actually stayed in their house and like had her new person move in. Another note I put on here is that Pat's dad is not as much of a dick to him as he is in the book.
Nope, not at all. Are there anything else that happens like right now?
No, I will say that. So right now in the movie, the therapy appointment doesn't happen quite yet, but basically what Allie just said does happen.
Oh, he also in the movie is very adamant. Well, do you want to just do we're at another book where it's like things happen in different spots.
Yeah, different timeline.
So are you going to talk about the therapy appointment soon at some point? Do you have notes for that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, then I'll let you do it when you get there. Okay. All right, so his brother Jake is coming over in the book, and it's because he watches the Eagles game with his dad and Pat, and it's just going to be a grand old time. He sees his high school friend Ronnie on his run, but he's mad at Ronnie because he never went and visited him when they moved, and he never came to Baltimore to visit him in the bad place and all this sort of stuff. But, so he just keeps running, even though he's like, hey, Pat, and he just keeps running. Jake bought him a Baskin jersey and his season tickets. And they watch the game, but he's really confused because they aren't playing at the Vet Stadium anymore because it was imploded. And he's like, no. And they're like, yeah, this happened like 2 years ago. You've been in the bad place for 4 years. And he swears he was only in there for like 5 months. And it's too much for him, and he ends up getting in a fight with not a fight with his mom. He starts freaking out, and like she ends up getting hurt, and then his dad punches him and knocks him out.
I'm really sad because the whole relationship with his brother is basically non-existent in the movie. And I really liked the relationship he had with his brother in the book.
I do too. He also gets him a different jersey.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. Why change the jersey? That just makes no sense.
My only thoughts
probably
are
4-year difference.
Right.
So they had to pick a popular player, but
the point was that it was a
player that he knew. That was one of his already favorites.
No, he was a rookie. Like nobody really knew him. But then they get was it Jackson? Deshaun Jackson?
Yeah.
Isn't that like a super famous football player?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the quite opposite of what the book was.
Yeah. And also, one thing I'll make a note of here is that in the movie, apparently the Eagles' like motto is Excelsior or something like that. And so then Excelsior becomes this huge thing throughout the whole movie. I just think it's really stupid because that's not a thing in the book. Like, why did they add that? Pat's big thing is the silver linings. That's what they should have stuck with rather than throwing in Excelsior.
I know.
Yeah.
That was odd.
It made no sense.
Nope. So, Ronnie came over and said... All right. So, Ronnie came over and was like, hey, Veronica, which is his wife, invites you to dinner. And he said, wear something nice because that's how she is. And all Pat could think about was how much Nikki hated Veronica. And he goes to his therapist and is like, I don't know what to wear. I'm freaking out. And he's like, well, don't you like your new jersey? That's a really awesome jersey. He's like, I do. And he's like, wear that. And this is when his therapist finds out he's an Eagles fan. And the therapist is also an Eagles fan. And they just have this awesome moment.
Yes.
Eagles. Then we're over here like, Seahawks.
Yeah, that's
we're like,
true.
I guess we're all annoying, aren't we?
Yeah.
Anyways, so they go to dinner and Veronica invited her sister Tiffany and they had a very awkward dinner and then find out Tiffany's husband died and she got fired from her job and she has Pat walk her home and she's like, hey, we can go have sex. You have to have the lights off though because I don't like football and you're wearing a football jersey. And he's like, what? No, I'm married. And she's like, well, I'm married too. And then it's like this weird, awkward moment. And then she just starts crying. And then he starts crying. And that night he's freaking out because he wants to watch his wedding video, but he can't find it.
Okay, I think I'm just going to
go along with the book.
I guess I can. This is insane. Okay, so in the therapy session that happened forever ago in the book, it happens after a specific scene. But in the therapy session, after he freaks out in the lobby because of the music, Cliff asks him about what happens with Nikki. And he tells him, which is this thing that in the book he has blocked out of his mind. He doesn't remember the incident between him and Nikki. And it's this like eye-opening thing at the end of the book. Mm-hmm. And in the movie, it's just she cheated on me. I got home and she was upstairs in our shower having sex with him. Mm-hmm. And I think it's ridiculous. Also, Pat wants Nikki to apologize for her side of things. Whereas in the book, Pat's very much like, it's my fault. I'm fixing myself. Mm-hmm. Nikki did nothing wrong because he has once again blocked out everything that happened with her. So he's not even thinking about that.
So he has bipolar in the movie, whereas in the book, they never say what he has.
Thank you.
I also think in the book, he might have OCD and
1,000%. Yes.
Might be on the spectrum for autistic.
Yes.
Because I freaking loved listening to it because he did not use contractions at all.
That's funny because so this is not my first time reading the book. Mm-hmm. I found the book, I can't remember. I think it was when I was in LA. In LA. So it was years, like 3 or 4 years after the movie had come out. And I was like, oh, I really want to read the book because I do like this movie. And so I read it and I didn't even pick up on it when I read it.
How funny.
I have notes that are things that just never happened in the book too. Mm. So like, okay, after his therapist appointment, he goes on a run because his dad's trying to have him stay to watch a football game, but he's like, no, I have to go on a run. And this is a scene where his dad literally tells him like that he's so excited to have him back because it's been so sucky not having him there for the football games.
You get your top-notch podcasters tonight, you guys.
I do. No, I was like on a roll, but man, saying for the football game, like as fast as I was talking was not happening. And then on his run, Pat then runs back to the school to try to get his job back, which is not something he does in the book because he knows that he can't. He knows that there's a restraining order and all this on him. So he goes and freaks out a teacher who's like, you can't be back here. I'm glad that you're out of there, but you gotta,
leave now.
Yeah. So then Pat's running back home. And this is when he runs into Ronnie And then Ronnie invites Pat to dinner.
But then he never says wear something nice.
No, he doesn't. So his wife can't be pissed at him when he shows up with his jersey on.
But she is.
Yeah. Just because, God, I invited you to dinner. So obvious. I mean, how many times have you been invited to dinner? Do you just automatically think that that means wear something nice?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe us millennials are different.
Fair point. Fair point. Like, if someone says to wear something nice, I'll wear something nice.
Right. You got to preface.
Yeah. Or like if it's dinner with, actually, no, not even then. I was going to say dinner with my grandpa, but like the only time I would wear something nice is like my grandpa's coming to town for my birthday and we're doing like this big family dinner. So like that I know to wear something nice too.
Right. That makes sense. But if you go over to a friend's house.
Yeah. No, I'm not wearing.
Nope.
Sorry, Allie, you invite me to dinner. You're good. More often than not, I show up to your place in pajamas.
You do.
And then in the movie, Pat is very excessive about trying to get back to Nikki. Whereas in the book, he just knows that he wants to get back to Nikki, but he wants to show her how much he's grown. And so he's not trying to get back to her right away because he's like, that's what the old Pat would do. I can't do what the old Pat would do. Whereas in the movie, he just doesn't care about that. He's like, I'm going to run over to Nikki. I'm going to get this. So then Pat knows about the restraining order and said this, says that there is a cop on his case.
Yeah, and he keeps popping up because every time Pat goes a little crazy.
It's the same cop that shows up because there's a cop on his case.
Oh, yeah, and there's not in the book.
No, there is not in the book. And then, oh yeah, you've done all of dinner. Mm-hmm. So then Ronnie and Veronica take Pat on the tour of the house, which doesn't really happen in the book. In the book, they just go over for dinner, whereas like Ronnie and which also, what Veronica wants to marry a Ronnie? Because now she can't go by Ronnie.
Oh, no.
That's what I thought immediately. I was like, oh, there went her nickname. Like, she can't.
Okay, but Book Veronica would never
That's
go
very
by
true.
Ronnie.
That's very
She
true.
is too prim and proper.
That's absolutely true. But they are like excited to have them at the house. They want to show them the house. So then at the dinner table, Pat and Tiffany like just start talking about their mental illnesses and talking about what drugs that they're on. Which
is so funny.
It's a hilarious scene and I love it, but like that never happens in the book. In the book, they're both not like, hey, I have mental problems.
I loved it because in the movie too, they were both, or Tiffany was mad that Veronica kept talking like she wasn't there.
Yeah.
So it made an awkward dinner. So then she's like, fine, I can make it awkward too. And then they start talking about their drugs.
Yes. Yes. And then Pat does want to watch his wedding video and he starts freaking out. But once he starts freaking out, his mom tells him where it's hidden. But then Pat still ends up having a mental breakdown. And like Allie just said, the cop that keeps pops up at his house that night to be like, hey, we're watching you.
Mm-hmm. So we're all caught up.
Yes, we are.
Okay. So Ronnie came over. Nope, just kidding. We read all that. Okay. So he's talking about Tiffany to Cliff and about how annoying she is because she won't stop following on him on all his runs. And Cliff's like, you know what you could do is maybe if you invite her to run, she'll get bored because then she's not chasing you anymore. And he's like, fine. And so he invites Tiffany to run and then out to the diner. And his mom is super excited because he's going on a date. And he's like, this isn't a date. And he's getting irritated. But Nikki taught him also to over tip. So he's really freaking out about only having $40. The meal ends up being $5 and he gives the waitress all $40. She's like, okay, you can go back anytime you want.
No kidding. Could you imagine? I'd be like, damn straight.
But also like, even for two people, $5.
I wish.
I know, right?
I mean, they did just only eat cereal, but
Right.
and tea.
You want to say anything about the date?
The date happens.
I think that one happens a long way from now, doesn't it?
Yeah, because I'm just gonna say this bit now because it doesn't happen in the book. Because now Pat is obsessed with trying to get Nikki a letter.
In the movie.
Yes, in the movie. He wants to write a letter for her. He tries to get his therapist to give it to her, which I'm like, dude,
Right.
you should know better. Like, what? And then Tiffany has told Pat about the dance, like, competition already. And the dance competition is this, like, big thing in the movie. Mm-hmm. Like, it's basically the rest of the movie once it's known that it's a thing. And so then Pat asks Tiffany to get his letter to Nikki. And that's how Tiffany convinces him to be her partner. Mm-hmm. And then during their first date, this is when Tiffany goes into her backstory that Alli will get into later on. Mm-hmm. But I like that Tiffany plays that close to the vest in the book because I feel like that makes her, like, I don't know how to explain it. It makes their dynamic almost a little bit very different, I think.
Where Pat is all open and she's more closed off.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then in the movie, Pat also thinks that the dinner was a test because Tiffany has been like, I'm friends with Nikki.
Yeah, because Veronica and Nikki are friends in the book. No, in the movie. When in the book, Nikki does not like Veronica at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Tiffany's like, oh, I've met Nikki. I've hung out with her. I hang out with her quite often. Uh-huh. And so Pat's like, oh, you're going to go back and tell Nikki how good I did on this date. Oh, they also squished 2 of the diner scenes that happened in the book together in this one.
Okay, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So him, his dad, and Jake and Ronnie are all watching the Eagles game. They're having a great time. And then he goes to Tiffany's house. He's like, hey, do you want to play ball? And she's like, her mom answers, and she's like, no, she doesn't like football. But then Tiffany comes out and is like, I'm scouting you. But doesn't tell Pat what she's scouting him for.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in the movie.
No, in the movie, he goes and knocks on the door for something else. Mm-hmm. And then her parents are like, get out of here. There's another guy off trying to get up with her.
Yeah.
So Veronica, Tiffany, Pat, and Ronnie all go to the beach with their daughter, Emily, I think her name is. And so Tiffany and Veronica go have girl talk. And while they're out, Ronnie falls asleep. So Pat takes Emily to the water. And they're having a blast, splashing in the water and going on the waves and everything. And Veronica comes back pissed and is yelling. And Emily's crying now. And Pat goes on a run because he feels so bad. And Tiffany runs after him. And then they return. They're like, we're ready to go. So they leave.
That does not happen in the movie.
Nope. So they all go to an Eagles game and they tailgate. A Giants fan comes up to them and starts calling, all the Eagles fans start calling them names. And there's a kid with him and he starts crying and the crowd kind of disperses. But then the Giants fan comes and starts yelling at Pat and Jake stands up for him. And then the Giants fan pushes him to the ground, which snaps Pat. And he starts freaking out and starts punching him and everything. And then he runs because he punched him like an inch to his life, basically. And Jake finally catches up with him, but they get a phone call that, hey, he woke up, he's okay. And Pat just feels horrible. All he can think about is that poor little kid crying.
Oh, shoot. One thing that I haven't made a note of, even though I know that it freaking is one of my notes, but his dad is working as a bookkeeper in the movie. Or wait, what is it called? His dad's doing illegal betting
There you go.
on the football games. And so this is a prominent thing throughout the movie. Mm-hmm. And my note is brother hasn't been in the movie yet. Right now.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna... Okay, well, that basically happens, except for Pat doesn't feel horrible about knocking out the person at the tailgate.
Yeah, and they got, like, ushered out, whereas in the book, they got to go back to the game.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense. And their dad was mad because his dad cannot go to the games. He has been banned from the stadium, and he really wanted his kids to be there for him because he thought that's what was going to make the Eagles win. And because they got booted out, the Eagles lost, and he felt like it was their fault.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So Tiffany and Pat went to the diner again, and Tiffany blew up at Pat because he's just talking about how this Giants fan and how horrible he feels, and this is going to make it so Nikki doesn't want to get back with him and all this sort of stuff. And she just yells at him, and then he goes home and reads another one of Nikki's books, and it's another depressing, pointless story, and he freaks out and hates it.
Holy shit. This happens here?
Yeah.
Guys.
And it's not even a big freak out. It's just like,
it's just it's not him breaking a window. The second scene in the movie is what Alli is saying right here, except for when he gets upset about the book, he then throws it out the window.
Oh my gosh,
and then
it's so funny.
It's one of the funniest scenes in the movie. And then his dad makes him pay for the window. So then that becomes a big thing in the movie too.
And this is the diner scene in the book where she freaks out.
So in the movie, when Tiffany freaks out in their first diner scene, they leave the diner all upset, and she's storming off, and they get to in front of a movie theater, and they're fighting, but then the Kenny G song comes on. So then Pat starts freaking out, and so then the cops come because it's Pat causing a scene. So they're like, what's the problem? And Tiffany also at first is basically asking for the cops to come help because this man is following her and blah, 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 blah. But then she realizes that Pat is now going through something. So she's like, no, never mind. No, we're good. Like, it's fine. And then she talks to Pat, and then she helps calm him down while the song is going on.
Mm-hmm. It's also not a Kenny G song in the
movie. No, it's not. I can't remember what the song is.
I don't either.
I just said Kenny G since you've already mentioned it.
That makes sense.
And then after this, Pat goes on a run, and then that's when he runs to Tiffany's to talk to her. And he sees a guy going to the front, and because Tiffany has now told him about her past, he wants to be the... It's funny because he wants to, but he doesn't realize that that's what he's doing. But he basically wants to be the knight in shining armor that's like protecting her from the bad guys with bad motives.
Mm-hmm. So basically what her past is that we find out at the end is she became kind of sort of like a slut. She slept around because it helped numb the pain of losing her husband. And so because we know that right at the beginning, that's what their fight was in the diner, is Pat called her a slut.
He's like, God, you're gross.
Yeah. And
flat out.
Yes. He was so funny.
Dude, if I didn't know better, I would have thought that Bradley Cooper was basically bipolar, autistic, all of that.
Oh, God.
Because he plays it so well.
He does. But no, it's one of my favorite things because... You mentioned this in one of your videos, that because it's so much internal monologue in the book, he's not a jerk because he's just thinking this. And actually in the book, his main thing is to be kind. That's his main hope. But they make him just say it in the movie. So when at the very beginning, when Tiffany's like, invites him to go have sex with her, he's like, oh, no, I can't. I'm married. And she's like, well, I'm married too. And he's like, oh, no, your husband's dead. That's weird. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. And so that's how most the movie is just him saying weird.
Saying all of it that comes straight to his mind. Oh, also a thing that keeps happening in the movie too is Pat's friend Danny keeps escaping from the mental institution. And like showing up at Pat's house like, hey man,
yes,
I'm here to watch the game with you and your folks.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just breathing.
Oh no, I thought you were about to take a deep breath and start talking.
I realized. I was like, no, I was just breathing.
Okay. So Pat's dad ended up getting a new TV because he broke the last one because the Eagles lost. His mom is pissed, and he's like, well, if we have money to support Pat, then we have money for a new TV. So she takes off, and Pat's really worried because he's out later than his nighttime medication, which is not normal, but he knows the colors, so he took the right color meds, and eventually she gets home, and he spirals for a bit because he doesn't know where she's been. And turns out she's drunk. So he took care of her, and he went to bed in the attic, and he started hallucinating of Kenny G. Like he's just standing over him playing saxophone. And after he got that out of his head, he looked around to make sure that he was really gone, and he found a box labeled Pat, and it had all of his wedding pictures in it.
So this doesn't happen in the movie. There's no issue with mom and dad. They're fine. And I guess I'll just kind of do a little bit more for the movie because I don't want you to get super far and me have to catch up again. So now in the movie, Ronnie has given Pat an iPod so that he can listen to music on his runs, which doesn't happen in the book. And so now Jake has finally shown up.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So Jake is his brother, guys. So now his brother has finally shown up. And in the movie, Jake is just getting engaged, whereas in the book, he's been married. And it's this like whole big ordeal.
But it's like a secret thing in the book because nobody wants
to freak Pat out.
Whereas in the movie, he's just flat out says,
oh yeah, I'm engaged to her.
Yeah, this part of your life sucks. Well, guess what? It doesn't in mine.
Yeah, my life
He was such a jerk.
Great. Yeah. My next note is literally Jake knew how to handle Pat in the book. And he did very well because he was like, I want you back in my life. I'm glad that you're out. Because it felt like in the movie, he was just like, hey, man.
Right.
Danny again escapes the mental institution because every time he gets out, everyone thinks that he's supposed to be out, but then someone comes from the institution to bring him back.
That was funny.
All right.
Okay. So his mom leaves and tells him, hey, you're on your own today. I'm not making you food for your game. Good luck. And after the game, Pat found a note from his mom with all these demands for his dad. Either return the TV or he needs to start talking to Pat more. He needs to go on dates, and et cetera, et cetera. And Pat calls his brother to talk about it, but then a woman answers the phone.
So the other thing that I should mention, too, is in the movie, Pat and Tiffany have now been practicing for this dance competition. And trying to make great dances for that. And then what Allie just said didn't happen because there's no issue with mom and dad.
Yep. So Pat went to Jake's before the game, and he finds out that he's been married, and he's internally freaking out because everyone's hiding things from him, but he just kind of lets it go. They go and they park at a different place at the stadium for tailgating because they're avoiding the Giants fan. But an argument breaks out because they parked in this place where the Asian invasion bus always parks. And Cliff steps out. So Pat's like, oh no, let them park here. And so they do. And all of their crew and all of Cliff's crew become great friends. And they have a fun time. And Pat eventually confronts his mom about the wedding photos.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in the movie.
The bus does.
Oh, the bus happens, but hasn't it already happened?
It was, the bus, because they only go to one game.
Yeah,
and
in
so
the movie.
The game where Pat gets beat up
is the same with Cliff.
Yeah.
And everything.
And I really loved Pat finding out Cliff was a Eagles fan at the game versus in the book, it was during a therapy session.
Yeah.
It was more of a like, what? How cool? Versus just in therapy.
Yeah.
Then he's like teetering on friends and therapist in his sessions, which
Yeah, you're not supposed to do.
no. Okay, so we get details about the mental state about a former quarterback for the Eagles, and apparently he had an episode where he tried to kill himself, and he ended up transferring to the Cowboys, which is no-go because the Cowboys are rivals of the Eagles.
This made me laugh so hard because my parents are fans of Cowboys. So I was like, I'm with this book. That's dumb. Why'd they go there?
Well, all these Eagles fans are making jokes and T-shirts and everything about this guy still think he should try and kill himself. And obviously Pat, who has mental illness, did not find this funny. And so him and Cliff have a little one-on-one chat on the Asian invasion bus. And, Cliff is Indian. That's why it's the Asian invasion bus.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows.
Allie's not being.
I'm not being super
Insensitive.
detailed. So the Eagles win the game, though, and they go home, and Pat walks in on his parents having sex. So that sucks. So he goes on a run, and Tiffany gives him a letter because she goes on the run with him. And she says, don't open this for 48 hours, and you have to be in a good mood when you open it.
So in the movie, Nikki, quote unquote, keeps writing Pat letters left and right. Just like random little things like, I'm so glad that you're doing better. I can't wait to see you. And like getting his hopes up.
Yeah.
And then yet again, Danny shows up. But this time he's there to help them with their dance routine.
Is he officially out? One of these times he becomes officially out.
I think it's this time, actually.
Okay.
But who knows?
Yes. So they haven't even started the dance thing yet, but that's what's in the envelope. So Pat sat down at dinner with his dad, and they had a great time. But then his dad asked him, when are you going to bring your girlfriend around? Which pissed Pat off. So he goes on a run, and he beats a goal he wanted. So he's in a good mood now. And then he opens the letter, and it turns out that she's been in contact with Nikki, and she will be the liaison. And apparently Pat did something criminal, and he doesn't remember it, but to be the liaison, he needs to compete with her in a dance competition. They have to win first place, and he has to bring 15 people to cheer them on at the competition.
And basically the whole liaison thing is in the movie too. It just happened during their diner scene.
Yeah. Oh, he also has to give up football for the next month. So
Yeah, that was not a thing in the movie. She didn't make that contingency. I also made a note that the relationship with his dad is super different in the book.
both.
Yeah,
they're different.
it's just different. Because in the book, it's very, especially when he was dealing with his parents not being in a good spot, his dad barely talked to him and stuff. Whereas in the movie, dad like talks to him and comes up to him and like.
Right. Yep. Okay, so in the book, it was so cute. I loved how this book was written because he's like, so I'm going to basically do a montage. You can feel free to put music on if you want while you read this part. But it was a montage of him practicing for this dance training. And anytime someone would bring up the Eagles, he'd start humming to calm himself down. And everyone's getting pissed at him because he's giving up all the Eagles games, which they keep losing. So they all believe he put a curse on the Eagles, which also Cliff is mad at him for this. So finally in this montage, he masters the dance and they're ready to go.
They've been practicing this whole movie.
Yes, they have.
Were they ready to go? I don't know.
They did their performance and he's freaking out because he's like, oh my gosh, what if someone's playing Kenny G? And she went and checked for him. They're not. And they did the dance and it was flawless. And then all of a sudden you hear E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. And his whole crew showed up to cheer him on, which he didn't know if anyone was going to be there. But turns out Tiffany lied to him and there was no trophy. but she just wanted to win. But there's no winning.
Yeah, she just wanted...
She wanted to help him.
She wanted to help him. She wanted to make him have his eyes on the prize. Mm-hmm. In the movie, there's for sure a win.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I loved it.
In the movie, Pat doesn't tell his parents about the whole dance competition until in the middle of training. Nope. In the book, he doesn't tell his parents about the dance competition, whereas in the movie, he's very serious about it. Whereas in the book, he is kind of like, whatever. But movie, he's like, I told her I was going to do this, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it great. And then there's a whole entire scene where there's a fight with his dad, Tiffany, and basically everyone, because then the bookkeeper comes in and mom comes in and all this. But there's a big game on the night of the dance that they want Pat to go to. And
it's a Cowboys and Eagles game.
Yeah, so it's a very important game. But Pat's like, I can't. I have to do this dance. And so Tiffany comes and starts telling him, if it were me reading the signs.
Yeah. When he hung out with me on this day, the Eagles won by this many points. When he danced with me over there, they won by that many points. And because Dad was saying how she's bad luck and she's put a curse on the Eagles and all this sort of stuff. And then they're like, oh, wow. Okay. Go hang out with her more.
Yeah. And then they turn it into a big bet on the competition. So they bet on the game and on the competition. And basically, Pat's dad now, if he loses basically all of his money.
Yeah, because they're going to start a restaurant. But he's now bet all the money for the restaurant. And they have to get 5 points.
Yeah, a 5-point lead.
10-point lead for the game. And they have to score 5 points
in the
competition.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're not good.
No.
Pat's like, this is a horrible idea. Whereas in the movie or in the book, they're really good.
Yeah, they've actually been practicing. They've actually been
doing everything they're supposed to do. Yep. So now we already have letters because he upheld his end of the bargain. That was it, you guys. A chapter for...
The first time I read this book, I was so thrown off. I was like, what? Because it's such a big deal in the movie.
Yes.
It's literally what gets focused on the whole movie. Yeah.
And that was a chapter. So, but now she's keeping up her end of the bargain and she's being the liaison between Pat and Nikki. And so Pat gives Nikki the entire book that we are reading, his manuscript for Tiff to read to Nikki. And Nikki replied saying that she's proud of him, but she's married now and suggests him to read Mark Twain because he was like, those books are depressing. So Pat replies saying, oh my gosh, this must be a secret message because Mark Twain, kept doing what he wanted and eventually he got a happy ending. And she's like, no, I'm happily married. And it's this back and forth. And he replies saying he's been reading some of her letters to his therapist. And she's his therapist said you need to start pursuing Tiffany and he wants to meet her face to face. And she replies saying, I'm done writing to you because I have a restraining order against you and you have one against me. We are breaking laws right now. And he replies one more time saying, I will be where we got engaged on Christmas Day. I will see you there.
This doesn't happen in the movie
at all.
The movie is basically, I'm just going to finish the movie, guys.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because now in the book, when Pat finds out that, I guess, okay. First off, I have to tell you all, Tiffany has been the one writing Nikki's letters. So Nikki hasn't been writing back to Pat. And
which he found out himself in the movie.
And there's no huge blowout. In the book, he's pissed. He's like, what? This is ridiculous. In the movie, he's like, it's fine because I already love Tiffany.
Yeah, and I figured it out myself and I knew I was writing to her.
Yeah. So then Nikki comes to the dance competition, which also is weird because why would Nikki be coming to a dance competition when she's already married?
Was she married in the book, in the movie?
I don't think she was married in the movie. I think that's the difference there. Mm-hmm. But also, like, you left this guy because he basically beat the guy you were having an affair with.
I know.
And you come to his dance competition? Okay. And then Pat, in the movie, Pat goes and talks to Nikki to basically be like, I'm done. It's okay. Which is weird, too. Like,
yeah.
And then he chases after Tiffany because Tiffany is now upset that he's gone to Nikki. And he's like, I have one last letter. And she's like, why don't you just go tell her yourself? And he's like, no, read it. And then she realizes, because it starts with Dear Tiffany. And she's like, oh.
Yep. Because she never admitted to him that she was writing the letters.
Yeah.
So she really expected it to be for Nikki. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'll just speed through this then. So it's Christmas, and he goes to where he's supposed to, and he's thanking God in advance because he's going to save his marriage. And then Tiffany gave him one more note and said, Nikki's not coming. And she's not accepting calls from Tiffany anymore and all this sort of stuff. So Pat shows up at the spot anyways, and all of a sudden Tiffany's there. And she admits to writing all the letters, and he's pissed. He yells at her and runs and is crying, and then he gets beat up and mugged. And he realizes, oh my gosh, it's because I cussed out God and I yelled at Tiffany and I wasn't a good person. This is why I got mugged. And he found a Christmas manger and he goes up to it and says a prayer, and out comes Danny. The first time we see him, the whole book,
when he's escaped the institution about 5 times.
Right. Nope, he was released correctly, and he was released the day before. And so he goes inside, and his Aunt Jasmine's there, and she freaks out because Pat is all bloody because he got beat up. Takes him to the hospital and all this. And now everyone's pissed at Tiffany because Tiffany did this to Pat and lied to him and all this. And then Jake is also mad at her because he now missed a really good Eagles game because he was out looking for Pat. Mm-hmm. Mess with those footballers. So Jake and Pat then go to an Eagles game on New Year's Eve, and then they go home, and they watch him and his mom watch the ball drop, and he's getting her some blankets, and he found his wedding video, and he watches it, and then he hears the Kenny G song, and it's like, bam, he remembers, oh my gosh, Nikki cheated on me. I beat the guy like an inch from death, and like all of this sort of stuff. And then he calls Jake, and he's like, I need a favor. And then we see Tiffany, and she wrote him one more letter, and she explained everything. She said how Tommy died, and he died because he used to just want to have sex all the time, and she was all for it. But then finally she's like, we got to do something else. And so he went to buy her lingerie, and
after a fight,
but he got hit by a drunk driver. But he's not like this crazy like sex fanatic. Like, he was a really good guy. He was a cop and like all this sort of stuff. That was just his love language. And so she felt so guilty. So then she just started sleeping around with everybody, and she would just imagine Tommy. And she apologized, saying that was the wrong way to go about things, but I just wanted to give you one more letter. And so then he met up with Tiffany, and they just had a talk, and she apologized again. And he said, I went to my old house and I saw Nikki, and she's with her new husband, and they have 2 kids together. And that was my closure of that movie. And now it's time for my new movie to start. And Tiffany got him like this cloud identification chart, and they're just laying there in the soccer field looking at the clouds. And they both say they need each other.
Yeah.
Oh, I really liked the book. So focused on, he's like, this is not how it's supposed to go in the movies. He was a movie, like,
he loved movies. He wanted it to be like the movies. He knew his happy ending was coming, and he assumed it was going to be with Nikki.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was a perfect book to get turned into a movie. Mm-hmm.
But then it got kind of
different.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. So for casting, we have 136 people.
That seems way too large.
It really does.
I mean, I guess the dance competition, football games.
Oh, yeah. All the, those
I guess
Eagles fans.
that makes sense, but also
That's a
what?
lot. Yes. Well, first off, we have Bradley Cooper as Pat.
Oh, he does it so perfect.
He does. I love him. Jennifer Lawrence as Tiffany.
So I love her. I didn't recast her, but I do think movie Tiffany is different than book Tiffany slightly.
I think all the characters are different.
Even Pat?
Pat is the closest. The only reason I say he's different is because they do the
His
voice.
internal monologue comes out. Yeah, that's true.
because
That's a
his-
good point.
In the book, he's so focused on being kind.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not
He is
kind.
not kind, no. But that also might be, like you said, because of how he's written. You see him as autistic. Mm-hmm. And so another way to show that is by him just saying those impulsive thoughts.
I mean, it makes sense. Yep. But yeah, I liked her.
Yeah, she won an Academy Award for this, so.
Yep. Robert De Niro is Dad.
I love him as Dad.
I do too.
He's so good.
He did such a good
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
Jackie Weaver as Mom.
I love her, too.
Yeah, she did really good. Chris Tucker as Danny.
He's hilarious. I love him so much.
I do too, but he was not book Danny at.
No, not in the
all.
slightest. No.
But I mean, we can't really. None of them. I guess the next one, Cliff.
Cliff is
Oh gosh.
also one of the closest. Anupam Kerr?
Okay. As Dr. Cliff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did
he's
good.
pretty close.
Yeah, yeah. He's almost exactly what I would picture.
And then John Ortiz.
Ortiz.
As Ronnie.
He did good.
Yeah, I think so.
He was fine.
Shay Wiggum as Jake.
You know what's funny? Actually, I think I'm going to recast him.
Jake?
Yeah, because
Okay.
when we were just going through this, you know who I pictured in my head?
Who?
Sean Astin.
Oh my gosh, I legit was like sitting here and I was like, no, you know who I picture is from 51st Dates, Sean Astin.
That's hilarious.
We did it. But I wasn't going to recast, so I don't know if that really counts. That's so
That's
funny.
hilarious.
Oh my gosh. But just 51st Date Sean Astin. That's all I picture. I don't picture Little Hobbit or
No,
Goonies.
I think for me, I picture Stranger Things, Sean Astin.
Oh, I didn't watch Stranger Things. That's hilarious. Oh, man. Okay, so we have Julia Stiles as Veronica.
I love her. I forgot she played Veronica.
I did too. Breeby. What a cool name. Breeby. Please.
As a Bri, that does not sound like a cool name.
She spells it different.
Yeah, that's true.
She played
Goodness.
Nikki for that one scene she was in.
I think she did, well, technically too, but
Well, I
yes, I
guess
think she
that's-
did good.
Yeah, she did fine. Yeah, that's funny. Okay. So is the theme the same? That's so hard.
It's really hard because to me, the theme of the movie is the dance competition, whereas the book is Pat's mental illness. So
Yeah, I think the theme, in the movie is definitely their relationship.
yeah, not the
Or
going on.
the book focuses on. Whereas, I mean, mental illness is definitely in the movie, but not
For sure.
like-
It's not the key. Because, let's be honest, if you were to sit down and watch a movie that was literally just about the mental illness aspect, people would get bored. That's why a lot of people don't see, like, independent movies or don't like them. I love them. But, so yeah, I don't think that it's the same.
I don't think so either. Are the characters the same?
No.
No. As we said, none of them are the same
Yeah, no.
except
Pat and the...
possibly Pat and possibly Cliff
Yeah.
with slight differences.
Yeah.
And what do you prefer?
I prefer the book.
Really?
Yeah, I like the
This
book.
was a hard one for
It's
me.
very hard. I love the movie too, but I enjoy the book more.
I had a really hard time because there were aspects of the book that I loved and aspects of the movie that I loved. But I think for more enjoyable, I chose movie, which I liked better. But I definitely love the book. So.
The books. I love the book so much. It's so good.
Did you say why you loved it?
I didn't say why I loved it. I think I just like, don't get me wrong. I do love the movie and I do love the whole like dance competition aspect, but I don't like focusing on it so much. I like focusing on the like self-improvement and the like, here's my problems. This is how I get through it. So even though that's not totally what the book does, but.
So what was going to change my mind and make me like the book more was if him and Tiffany didn't get together in the book.
Really?
Because then it would have been like the whole thing where like he can have his silver linings, but it's like all the books that he read, right? On
That's actually a very good point. That's
her
true.
list. They all ended not happy. So it would have just been following.
Am I turning you into me?
I don't know, because if he didn't get together with Tiffany in the movie, I wouldn't like the movie. So I don't know what it is. I think it was purely the fact that he was reading books, and every book he read, there was not a happy ending. So I was like, oh, so that's how this one's going to end. Not a happy ending. It's going to follow the books that he's reading. It's like the foreshadowing. And then that didn't happen. I was like, oh, well.
That would have been a better ending. Honestly, I think you're right. That would have been way better. But to me, it's kind of sad because in the book, I don't think he gets with her because he does love her at that point in time. I think he gets with her because she understands his problems and understands his issues. And
that's why they say they need each other.
Exactly. And so I don't see it necessarily as a happy ending. As like, oh, cool. At least you got someone.
Yeah. I see that. Would you recommend them to friends?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I know. I told my mom. Of course, I tell her. I had to watch it, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to stay up late and watch it tonight. But if I had waited the next day, I told my mom, I was like, I watched Silver Linings Playbook last night. And she's like, oh, I love that movie. So that would have been one my mom would have watched with me. But so yes, we recommend it. Yep.
It's good.
Both of them, book and movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Sneaky peeky. Wednesday. Nope, first, go to our website. We got everything.
Wow, you like skipped a bunch.
I did.
Like Wednesday.
Everything you need is on our website.
Yes.
It is a Wix website, so
don't judge.
I can't just spill it off for you.
Yes.
The word Offscript is in it somewhere.
It's in our show notes. Take a peek. Sign up for our newsletter.
It's on all of our social media bios. Yep.
If you're not following us, man, please subscribe.
Yes, and rate us and review us. And then we got a nerd party coming up, you guys.
We're so excited.
We are actually going to work our butts off tonight. We have
a long-ass night ahead of us.
Yes, we do.
I didn't realize how long this episode was going to be.
Nope. We got one more mini-sode for you, which we're going to talk all about nerd parties. So we'll do that. That'll come out on Wednesday.
Yeah. And then Monday, guess what?
Oh, my gosh. We're going to talk about the nerd party.
But that's a fun one because that is an episode that we're actually recording at Nerd Party.
Yes. So if you are in the Western Washington area, area, come to the Kent Nerd Party and come sit down and you can be on the podcast and you'll hear your beautiful voice on Monday.
Because that's what we're hoping to do. We're hoping to get people to sit down and chat with us, tell us what they're experiencing at the Nerd Party. I'm actually like getting more and more excited as I realize what it is. Like I originally just thought it was vendors and like authors at booths and stuff. And then I found out just recently that there's a cosplay competition. There's like a Lego brick convention thing like they have at Comic-Con. So I'm like, wow, this is basically a Comic-Con.
It's going to be so cool. I'm so excited. I know. But then we're going to have to like, how are we going to do this? We're going to have to do some type of pause so we can get up and enjoy it too.
Yeah. But maybe like right off the bat or something. Or like, I have a feeling too, once everyone's set up or like when it's set up time before the event starts, we'll just walk through and kind of see things.
Yeah, we can do that. Or then, I mean, worst case, at some point,
We just take turns and
take turns.
Yeah.
And someone, because that's when we can be like really chatting. Be like, hey. There.
yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right, you guys. So stay tuned all week for Nerd Party updates. And yeah, with that, the Silver Linings Playbook
Went off script. Bye.
Thanks for sticking with us.
We hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, we would greatly appreciate it if you gave us 5 beautiful stars, reviewed, and subscribed.
You can also follow us on Facebook at Offscript, on Instagram at Offscript Podcast 21, and on TikTok at Offscript_pod.
Shoutouts to Madame Ashen Creations for our adorable logo art,
And Adam Daniel for our incredible theme song.
and to Creative Cinephile Productions for producing our podcast.
See you next time.